welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Priscilla Chigario. Today we are just going to talk. I feel like it's been such a long time since I just sat down and kind of talked about everything that has been happening, and right now felt like the perfect time because we are 1 week away from Christmas and 2 weeks away from the new year, and my life was in such a different place at this exact same time last year. It kind of got me thinking and reflecting. So I wanted to share some of my thoughts and just some of my plans for next year, and just basically to kind of take stock of everything that has happened this year. But before we begin, because it is Christmas, I have a gift for you guys from my favorite jewelry brand, as always, Ana Luisa. I'm actually wearing one of the pieces that I got, well, earrings that I got for myself this Christmas, and here is a second pair that I got. How beautiful are those? And then I also got a cuff for my ear. This is just stunning. I will put an insert, but I wear this like on my ear. It just looks absolutely stunning. I've always loved cuffs, and every time I get an opportunity to get a new one, I will get it. So if you use my discount code GlamAndVintage, you get 35% off to get yourself anything that you would like on the site. But definitely take a look. Their earrings, necklaces, cuffs, rings, everything are absolutely amazing quality. I love this brand so much. I've been working with them this year, and I cannot say I have been disappointed by anything that I've got. I've literally stopped buying jewelry from everywhere else, and this is basically all I wear. This is actually my second pair of small hoops because I found that I was wearing the other one like basically every day because I go to work every day, and they're so easy to put on and they look perfect the second you put on. You just look accessorized and you look good. So I decided to get myself a second pair, and this is it. So get yourself something from analuisa.com this Christmas, and don't forget to use my code GlamAndVintage and you will get a 35% discount. So now that we're done with Christmas and you will all be getting a gift from me, I wanted to kind of talk about this year. It's been nothing short of amazing, and honestly, I don't understand, or I don't even know how to put this, but the universe and life and everything has been so amazing to me this year. I feel like it has been 2023 has been literally the best year of my life as far as I can remember. I started at the beginning of this year without much certainty about what I was gonna do and how my year was gonna go. I had hopes and I had like plans, obviously, but you know, you never know how any of those things that you planned are actually going to go. And my life was in such a different place. Last year around this time is when I started my story time, like telling the story of my marriage, and I feel like I've basically come full circle in this year that has happened. Well, in this year that has passed, I literally started from a place where I had no ability to work here. I couldn't leave the country because obviously I was still on an extended tourist permit, and that hadn't even come out yet, so I couldn't leave the country. So no work, no travel, without entire certainty about my living situation, how I was going to survive and be able to take care of my kids, and just, you know, that inability to actually make plans for yourself where you are certain that something is going to happen. I was functioning purely on hope and purely on just this drive. I feel like a lot of times people are like to me, oh, you're so resilient, you're so strong, you've been through so much and you made it through. But you know what? In all honesty, it's not our bodies or our minds, well, most of us are kind of wired to not die. And so for me, it was basically the choice of death or not dying. And I chose not to die. And basically, that's where all of my strength and energy came from. And also just looking at my kids, you look at their faces and you're like, you know what? I have to do better. I have to keep these people alive. I have to provide for them. I don't want this to be their story or to be their narrative. I don't want them to grow up feeling like they didn't have the things that they needed and that they weren't taken care of. And those were the things that kind of gave me the strength to continue. Not wanting to die and just looking at my kids and just wanting so much better and so much more for them. And then also at the same time, like one thing that I can say, going through anything traumatic is never fun. And everybody's like, oh, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, etc. It's not that it makes you stronger or anything like that. I think what I got from this entire experience, and I'm only able to actually really articulate it now and understand it now that I am through it, and I feel like I'm pretty much on the other side, where I've been able to pick up the pieces and glue them together and make something actually that is much more beautiful than what it was before. So what I got from this experience that I went through was I actually learned who I was, and I learned what I really wanted. I feel like I had been coasting through life. Certain things happen. Yes, of course I had drive. Yes, of course I had goals, and there were things that I wanted to do. But I didn't have that self-knowledge that I feel like I have now. I also didn't have the level of determination, as well as the amount of grace that I give myself. And also, I realized that I used to care so much about what people thought of me, and to the extent where it was debilitating. I couldn't function if I knew that somebody like hated me or disliked me. And when you're a public person or person that is working in an industry which makes you a public persona, everybody feels like they can judge you or they can have an opinion about your life and jump to conclusions, etc. And most of the time they don't give you as much, they're not as kind to you as they are to other people, because you're judged much more harshly. And that really used to affect me a lot. But then after what I went through, I realized that your life consists of just you. If you disappear from the face of the earth tomorrow, people will think about you maybe for a couple of weeks, a month or so, and then pretty much, unless it's your close family or your close friends, you're gone, you're done. So why give them the ability to affect how you treat yourself or how you feel about yourself, when you are going to just be a very short-term memory for them if you disappeared tomorrow? And that's basically how I looked at it, because in theory, I kind of disappeared. I disappeared basically for like 4 years, and let's say 3 years. And I was like basically off everybody's radar. And the thing is, what it did for me is, like, besides the fact that it made me realize that people do not care so much about you if you are not in the limelight or if there's nothing to talk about. You should never give them that level of importance that it affects your life, what they say. So when I came back, it was more like, okay, I'm back. For starters, I wanted to clear the air, just to correct the narrative, correct the story that had been told out there, so that people would actually get the opportunity to know me for me. And that was the most crucial and most important thing to me. That's why I told my story. And I'm so happy that I did it, because it was like this huge weight that had been sitting on me that was lifted. And once that was lifted, I felt like I could breathe. I felt like I could create. I felt like I could dream. And I felt like I could just actually start to be me again, start to allow myself to dream, start to allow myself to actually grow and expand my mind, and to actually rebuild those things that were important to me. And one of those things was Fashion Week. And you know, I will forever be incredibly grateful for the people that worked with me to put it together and to make it happen. Like my right hand man, Marshall Mutsamwira, I do not know where I would be without him. He's just a gem. You know, there are people, and I've always said this, there's always been someone or a group of people or a number of people that have been sent and brought into my life that have helped me to survive, to reach my goals, because nobody does anything on their own. It's absolutely impossible. You can have a brilliant idea, but then execution, you need other people to do it, and you need a group of very special people. And I was incredibly lucky to get Marshall and to create this amazing advisory board. And the reason why I was actually able to do it was I lost my fear of people saying no. The one thing that I remember talking about with Marshall was, he was like to me, oh my God, like, how do you get the guts to just go up to someone and ask them stuff? And I was like, you know what? The worst thing that anybody can say is no. And at the end of the day, still, you've pitched them an idea, you've told them about the things that you want to do, and you've actually basically, in essence, spread the word to a person who would have never known about your project. So even if they say ultimately no, you've created a little bit more awareness about what you're doing. And the thing is, you know, I did not get a lot of no's. I only got one no, and the rest were yeses. So that was amazing. And it helped us to put together this beautiful Fashion Week, which happened in Victoria Falls. And another incredible thing actually that happened to me this year, the two countries that I was most afraid of going back to, Zimbabwe and Russia, somehow it was engineered that I had to go back to those two specific countries this year. And I feel like it was all part of that rebuilding of my life, to sort of, like, first I did this story time, got that off my shoulders. I still harbored this fear of going back to Zimbabwe because, you know, I left in such a bad space and under such awful circumstances. The same thing with Russia. I left basically afraid that I was going to be killed or put in jail or, you know, something like that. So going back and with these opportunities and events and things that came up that happened to be like, okay, Zimbabwe Fashion Week will always be in Zimbabwe, but basically the fact that I had to go back and we managed to put together the Fashion Week, we managed to make it happen, which made me have to go back to Zimbabwe to actually attend the event and participate. I was terrified when I landed, to be honest. Like, my heart was, you know, when you just have this feeling like you are, like, you can't breathe. I think I coasted. I got off the plane. I don't even remember how I did it, but then I couldn't breathe. I got to immigration. I was just looking at them, like, waiting for something to happen. And this woman was just like to me, welcome home. And I was like, okay, is she just saying that, you know, just kind of make me feel comfortable? And then the second I go to get my bags, there'll be people waiting. I had all these crazy thoughts, and I even shared them with Marsha. He was like to me, Priscilla, just calm down. No one's going to do anything. Nothing's gonna happen. I literally went so far as to contact somebody that I knew, higher powers, and I was like, please, can you check if there's anything, you know, is there any chatter, what? It was that bad. I had serious anxiety for the 2 weeks prior to going to Zimbabwe. And then once I got out of the airport, it was as if everything just dissipated and all that fear, everything just vanished. And I was in it. I love Zimbabwe so much, and it was just that reminder, you know, there's no place that will ever be like your home. And going back there, this is making me like, you know, but going back there after leaving and, you know, almost feeling betrayed by your own country, I felt like I arrived, and all the beauty that I saw and the people, the reception and everything just rebuilt like this love that I've always had for Zimbabwe. And it kind of just made me realize that my previous experience had nothing to do with the country in general. It had to do with a group of people, and not letting that group of people affect my entire perception of an entire country, my own country, was the best thing that I could do for myself. So I went, I conquered that fear, I came back. It was so fast, so much faster than I wish it had been. But I was happy. The outcome of Fashion Week, I was so happy, and it makes me super excited for what is to come next year. And you know what? It was not without its minor glitches, but then the overall energy. And you know, when you do events, you know that things are going to happen, but then it's the impact and the extent and the weight that you give those things. It's like, okay, you know, there's somebody that didn't bring the lights. What do we do? But we worked through it. We executed. It was amazing. And yeah, just beautiful. And then after that, I came back here feeling so much better, feeling so much more empowered, and feeling much, much stronger. And actually, like, really, I learned another thing actually this year, and that is to congratulate myself on the things that I have done, and to stop waiting for recognition from other people, which is what I feel so often we do. We always wait for someone else to say, well done, you did a good job. And we take that and we value it more than the congratulations that you give yourself. But then I learned this year that it should be the other way around. You should never wait for someone to be like, oh, congratulations, you did so well in school. Oh, you know what, this project was amazing. You need to sit down and take stock of what you've done. Look at the efforts that you've put into something and congratulate yourself first. You are the only person that can drive you. You are the only person that can control the outcome, basically, of your life, depending on what your input is. So when you put in a lot into something, be it a project, be it rebuilding yourself, be it whatever it may be, remember to always congratulate yourself. Be the first one to be like, you know what, Priscilla, you did a good job. And look at it. Look at the faces. Look at these people. Look at how happy they are. Look at the opportunities that you've created. And you know what? This year, that's all I've been doing. I'm so happy that I was able to create opportunities for people. I was so happy that I was able to create exposure for people. And you know what? Those that choose to say thank you so much, great, it's wonderful. But you know, for those that choose to be like, oh, but there was this wrong, there was that wrong, you know what? You focus on what you want to focus on. For me, going forward from now on, I love creating opportunities. I feel like it is my calling, and the reason why I feel like I thrive and excel at it is because I do it with my whole heart. I do it not because I want to be famous or because I actually get anything out of it. Most of what I do is philanthropy. I go out of my way to find people that can contribute to the growth of our industry locally. I try to figure out and find ways of getting the visibility that we need and getting the education that we need, improving things. And you know what? I'm so happy to do it. And at the end of the day, when I look at the people that actually benefit from these things, when I look at those models that are having fun and, you know, experiencing things that they would never otherwise have experienced, that is all the thanks that I need. That is it. And so, yeah. And also I thank myself and I congratulate myself and I say, well done. And then, anyway, so after Zimbabwe, I came back feeling strong, and then I went to Russia. And that in itself, surprisingly, I was less afraid of going to Russia than I was of going to Zimbabwe. So for me, that was like epic. Yeah, the other thing as well, as you can see behind me are a ton of clothes. So when I left Russia, I had been living in Russia for 4 years, and as you all know, I'm 42 years old. I've been working in fashion since I was 19 years old. And from the time I was 19 to the time I left Russia, which is when I was about 39, I have been shopping and collecting unique pieces. And I traveled a lot. And in those years, I accumulated a lot of things. And the thing is, a lot of these things are sentimental. Some things I made myself, some things I got from very specific countries or very specific designers. And I had amassed this beautiful collection of clothing, shoes, accessories, everything. And I had it all in Russia. And then when I had to leave, because I left under such terrible circumstances, I had to put everything in storage. And I left with 2 suitcases, which consisted primarily of my daughter's clothing and things that she was going to need, because I knew that, when I got to Zimbabwe, I didn't have money, so I needed diapers and things like that. So I packed as much of that as I could. So I didn't take a lot with me, and I left these things in storage, and they've been in storage. They were in storage for 4 years. And because straight after I got to Zimbabwe, the pandemic started. We had 2 years of pandemic, and then I left and I came to the US. And then when I got here, this was like 2021, and I got here in August. And so like the second bit, like just before Christmas, like around November, December 2021, I started making arrangements to ship all of these things from Russia here to the US. So the shipping guy was like to me, you know what, let's wait until January, because that's when the prices are the best, because right now everybody's shipping for Christmas, etc. It'll be super expensive. Let's wait for January. So we waited. January 2022 came around, and then we started making plans. He went and he took a look at everything, started doing the documents and so on. And then boom, February, just when the shipment was supposed to be collected and shipped here, the war in Russia began. Well, the war with Ukraine began. And so everything was shut down. No shipping between Russia and the United States, like nothing. Everything was cut off. And since then, up until now, excuse me, since then, up until now, there is still no shipping between Russia and the United States. So my stuff was stuck for an extra 2 years, basically 2 years, an extra 2 years. And so this trip was for me like an opportunity, number one, for me to actually go to Russia and be in this space. And you know what? Like Zimbabwe, I loved Russia, loved Russia. Russia is such a special place, and Moscow is Moscow is probably the most vibrant city I've ever lived in. It is better than New York. The restaurants, just the energy and the beauty, and just there is so much about the arts and culture scene that is so much better there than other cities. But then, because of politics, etc., opinions differ, and things that we should all be experiencing and things that we should all be benefiting from, we cannot. But needless to say, this trip came up and it was amazing. All expenses paid, super VIP treatment, literally amazing treatment. It was the Moscow that I remembered. Beautiful, stunning restaurants, cars, glitz, glamour. It was the epitome of fashion in bright lights, everything. No, it was just insane. I have a vlog on the BRICS Summit, which I'm going to be posting this weekend, so you guys can see all the amazing things that we experienced. But yeah, so this was an opportunity for me to actually get my stuff. So when I left the US, I literally just went with carry-on luggage. I had just my bag and my tote bag, and I went like that with nothing. just like some undergarments and a little bit of cosmetics, but then that was it. I got to Russia and immediately made arrangements to get some of my things out of storage, and like they were all like in these boxes. I'll insert a picture of me when I got back to the airport here. So I went and I picked up like 2 big boxes of stuff. That is some of the stuff that I wore during the summit, and then I also had some things sent to me by designers from SA and Zim. So that was also amazing. So yeah, I went through, whilst I was there, I went through these boxes, repacked, and like prioritized what I would take. But essentially, I bought extra luggage in the plane, which actually turned out to be a much cheaper way to ship everything. Because number one, I get to avoid customs and like, you know, the shipping period and all of that. And the stuff is with me. So I got to avoid all of that, and I brought back my wardrobe with me. It's not the entire wardrobe. I came back with 6 boxes, and there are 4 boxes that I left. But then now that I've been to Russia and I feel like the world is so open and it's totally my oyster, and also the summit is happening again next year, and I will be there again. And this time it's going to be in summer. So that's an opportunity. If I don't go back to Russia between now and August next year, I know that I can always go back and I can get the remaining boxes then. But basically, in essence, like to round all of this off. Oh yes, and then I came back from Russia and I felt even better. I felt even stronger, even more determined. And I felt like I was back to being me. And like back to being me, it's not like I went back to being the Priscilla that I was before. I am now me 2.0, so to speak. I don't take for granted my luck. I don't take for granted the opportunities that I have and the opportunities that I've been given. But at the same time, I also appreciate the role that I have played in creating those opportunities. Just knowing that I was ready, number one, I prepared for all of this. I prepared for myself to make this comeback. And part of that preparation was getting my mind right, making sure that I was actually healthy mentally, which is something that we take for granted and we don't spend enough time on. I went through the most, and it took me time to heal, and it took me time to understand what had happened to me, and it took me time to accept the fact that I was allowed to grieve for the loss of something that I had. And one of those was like the loss of safety, that naivety of feeling like life is endless and, you know, it's just, you know, just goes on for perpetuity, which is what we need to thrive every day. And those are things that I lost, that I mourned and I got over. And then I kind of came back with a renewed sense of self, basically, understanding myself better, understanding my goals better, understanding what I wanted to achieve better, and knowing better how to get there, how to get to that point that I wanted to get to. And then also understanding that it was not necessary for me to be loved by the whole world, or to be friends with the whole world, or to sort of like pursue that what everybody wants, like to be liked by everybody. What was more important was for me to like me, for me to be happy with me, with the person that I was, and for me to also be honest and true to myself, to take better care of myself, to realize that, you know, engaging in certain habits was not in my best interest. And you know, these things kind of like, you kind of coast when you're coasting through life. You just let yourself experience everything. And at the end of the day, sometimes it's to your own detriment. So all of this, like this year, it's been epic. I don't even know how else to explain it. But I feel strong, I feel empowered, I feel ready for 2024. And what is the best is that although there is, there's still like some haziness, and like Rome was not built in a year, in a day, I should say. There's still some haziness, and with some aspects of my life, I'm still trying to decide, what to do, because at the moment, for instance, I am working a part-time job, and which allows me to be able to also focus on the fashion week and developing other aspects of my career in fashion, which I'm working on right now. But financially things have to balance. You need to be able to, one thing needs to be able to support the other until the other can support itself. So I'm kind of like at that stage right now where I'm trying to make sure that what I want to do can support and sustain itself without me having to have a secondary job. So yeah, but then like, for me, I kind of feel like, this is the road, this is the route. We've only been doing this now for just like a little over 6 months, 7 months. So I feel like I've really taken big strides, and I'm super happy with where I am. I am amazed at how this year was basically the year for me of rebuilding. I rebuilt my life. I rebuilt my self-confidence. I rebuilt my organization, and it's so much stronger now. And I have things that I felt like I had lost. And obviously we should never put too much importance on material things because they come and go. But the thing is, there's certain things that are memorable, that are more than just an object, because they have value and they have meaning, and they remind us of a certain period of our lives. So that's the attachment to some things, which I was happy to get back. And I feel like now, for the first time actually in 4 years, I feel complete. I feel like I'm not scattered. When you have things there, this is unresolved, that is unresolved. So much has been resolved this year. So much has been removed from my life that was not necessary. I've learned so many lessons that have helped me to guide or go down a path that is so much better for my life. And so much has been returned to me, which I thought I had lost and I would never get back. But yeah, and there's nothing like beautiful shoes and beautiful bags to make you feel good. But that has been everything that I've been thinking about and looking back on, and just feeling this incredible sense of gratitude and feeling incredibly empowered, and just feeling so happy to be complete, feeling so happy to be solid, and to have that clarity and drive and all those beautiful things that make life worth living. But yes, so thank you guys so much for watching this. And 2024 is going to be exciting. There are already quite a few things that are coming up. I have some meetings today actually about some of those things, and I can't wait to share all of that and all the joy and happiness and growth that we're going to be doing in 2024. And I hope that next year, when I'm doing this review again, taking stock of 2024, I will have more amazing things to tell you guys. But before I go, Christmas is in 1 week. Do not forget to use my link, Glam and Vintage, and get yourself 35% off some beautiful jewelry from Ana Luisa. I'm going to leave a link to my code that you should use in my description box, and I will see you guys this weekend, and we will be in Russia at the BRICS Fashion Summit 2023. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, do not forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Tell me how your lives are going, and enjoy this pre-Christmas week, and take care. See you guys soon. Bye.